You remember a case called United States v. Johnson?
I have had multiple United States v. Johnsons. Are you referring to the pretrial detention matter?
In this case, you had a defendant who was charged with traveling with intent to engage in illegal sexual conduct with a kid. And the defendant also testified that he had, quote, had a sexual interest in minors and even had a sexual relationship with his daughter. You remember it now?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. And you were reversed in that case, weren't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Patriots, to America First, your ultimate source for honest, no-nonsense commentary on what's really happening in our great nation. Before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on the truth the mainstream media refuses to tell you. Your support is vital to keeping the America First message alive and thriving. Folks, today we're taking a deep dive into Senator John Kennedy's latest Judiciary Committee grilling of Judge Meriweather, nominated for the Court of Federal Claims. And let me tell you, Senator Kennedy once again did America a tremendous service by revealing just how unprepared some of these Biden administration nominees truly are.
Congratulations to each of you. Judge Meriweather, you've been nominated to the Court of Federal Claims, is that right?
Yes, Senator.
How many motions have you argued in the Court of Federal Claims?
I have argued hundreds of motions involving complex civil claims in numerous courts. The Court of Federal Claims is not one of those courts.
Okay, so the answer is 0.
That is correct, Senator.
Okay. How many cases have you tried in the Court of Federal Claims?
I have tried a civil case in the district court for the District of Columbia. Most of my cases have been resolved on motions. None of those cases have been in the Court of Federal Claims, although they involve similarly complex matters under civil laws.
So the answer is 0.
That is correct, Senator.
What is the, tell me the grounds for granting a new trial in the Court of Federal Claims?
All of the trials in the Court of Federal Claims are bench trials, and the Court of Federal Claims, although it is not bound by the federal rules of civil procedure, its rules mirror those rules when applicable. So it's my understanding that the same rules that would apply in the district court are also applied in that context. But if I were presented with a motion for a new trial, should I be confirmed as a judge on the Court of Federal Claims, I would, of course, consult the rules of court of the Court of Federal Claims.
So what are the grounds for granting a new trial?
My understanding is that a new trial, you would have to comply with the applicable rules.
I know that, but what are they? What are the grounds? You said that the rules are identical to the Court of Federal Claims and Federal District Court. I'm not sure that's accurate, but just tell me what are the grounds for granting a new trial in the Court of Federal Claims?
Senator, that is not an issue I have had occasion to consider before, despite my extensive civil experience and my familiarity, not only with the federal rules of civil procedure, but I've also reviewed the rules of the Court of Federal Claims. But if I were presented...
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. You go ahead. Were you through?
I did not mean to speak over you,
You,
Senator.
that's okay. You go ahead, and I want you to finish your answer.
So I would, if I were presented with that question, should I be confirmed, I would, again, consult the rules and follow the precedent.
All right. Let me be sure, Judge, I understand your testimony. Can you tell me one single ground for granting a new trial in either a federal district court or the Court of Federal Claims as we sit here today?
Yes, if you misapplied, if there were gross misapplication of the law, certainly a litigant would argue for
Anything
a new
else?
trial.
There are like 6 or 7 of them. Can you tell me any others?
Trials are so infrequent in the civil context, and although I have presided over bench trials and a jury trial, I have not been presented with a motion to have a new trial.
Okay.
So I've not...
Okay. What's a contract of adhesion?
A contract...
Excuse me.
Senator, I'm familiar with contract law, the concept of contracts of adhesion.
Yeah, you're going to say a lot of that. That's what federal Court of Federal Claims does. What's a contract of adhesion?
Senator, the Court of Federal Claims does handle a lot of procurement cases. Those typically turn on interpretations.
Yes, ma'am, but I'm going to run out of time. What's a contract of adhesion? If you don't know, just tell me.
Senator, despite my extensive civil experience, including dozens of cases that include contract cases, I have not dealt with the question of what a contract of adhesion is, but should it be presented to me, I would.
You'll look it up. Okay. Do you remember a case, Judge, called United States v. Allen?
Yes, Senator.
You were reversed in that case, weren't you?
I made a pretrial detention decision for, I believe, 5 defendants. I believe that Mr. Allen was one of the defendants for whom the district judge disagreed.
Yes, ma'am.
With
But you were reversed.
my pretrial detention ruling, I believe, was.
Do you remember a case called United States v. Johnson?
I have had multiple United States v. Johnsons. Are you referring to the pretrial detention
Well,
matter?
in this case, you had a defendant who was charged with traveling with intent to engage in illegal sexual conduct with a kid. And the defendant also testified that he had, quote, had a sexual interest in minors and even had a sexual relationship with his daughter. You remember it now?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. And you were reversed in that case, weren't you?
I made a narrow decision in Johnston that he should be released for 21 days
Yes.
so that he could, and placed on home incarceration,
Right.
so that he could get cancer treatment that he had been unable
You
to
wanted
receive.
to let him go out for 21 days. Is that correct?
I don't think that's an accurate characterization.
Well, that's what the district court judge said.
The district,
The district court said, no way am I letting this guy out on the street for 21 days.
The district court judge concluded that his life was not at risk because he had had the medical appointment that he had not had when he appeared before me before the appeal. So under those new facts, the factual predicate for my temporary release decision no longer
That's not
existed.
the way I read it, Judge. Do you remember a case called United States v. Voucher and United States v. Patel? You were reversed in those cases, too, from trying to let somebody go, weren't you?
In those 2 cases, my flight risk assessment under the Bail Reform Act, I believe, was reversed by the district judge.
Okay, I'm out of time. Thanks, Mr. Chairman, for your indulgence.
Let's set the stage clearly. The Court of Federal Claims deals extensively with complex contract law, procurement cases, and critical disputes involving federal claims. It's not a court for amateurs, folks. This court requires judges who are deeply versed in specialized federal legal issues. Yet, astonishingly, we see Judge Meriweather openly admitting she has argued precisely 0 motions and tried 0 cases in this particular court. Now, Senator Kennedy isn't asking these questions to embarrass anyone. He's highlighting a fundamental issue that every American should care deeply about: competence. If you're being nominated to such a specialized court, basic experience with that court is non-negotiable. And Meriweather's answers, or should I say lack thereof, were nothing short of alarming. When Kennedy pressed her about the grounds for granting a new trial in the Court of Federal Claims, Judge Meriweather stumbled dramatically. Instead of providing a clear, confident response, she vaguely suggested she'd consult the rules if confirmed. Patriots, I'll look it up later, isn't exactly the reassurance we need from a federal judge who could shape pivotal decisions involving taxpayer dollars and government contracts. Kennedy didn't stop there. He asked about contracts of adhesion, a concept vital to contract disputes frequently encountered in this court. Once again, Meriweather was clueless. Let me put it plainly. If you're going to judge cases involving contracts, you had better know what a contract of adhesion is. This isn't a game show. It's a critical position entrusted by the American people, funded by American taxpayers. Her unfamiliarity with this basic legal principle was genuinely concerning. Perhaps even more troubling was the revelation about her track record of judicial decisions. Kennedy exposed multiple reversals on her rulings, particularly alarming in cases like United States v. Johnson, where she allowed temporary release for a defendant charged with horrific crimes involving minors. Thankfully, a district judge intervened and reversed her dangerous decision, preventing a potentially grave miscarriage of justice. This isn't a trivial matter, my friends. Judges wield immense power, and poor decisions have real-world consequences. We can't afford to have nominees placed in positions of power who don't grasp the severity of their roles or lack the experience necessary to make informed judgments. Kennedy's relentless questioning reminds us exactly why diligence and accountability matter, and why we must hold our officials to the highest possible standard. Frankly, patriots, this exchange was a powerful reminder that elections have consequences. When administrations nominate judges based on politics rather than competence, the entire judicial system suffers. Our judicial system must remain a pillar of fairness and competence, not a playground for ideological favoritism. We owe a debt of gratitude to Senator Kennedy for exposing yet another nominee whose qualifications don't match the critical responsibilities they're tasked with. It's essential we stay vigilant, remain informed, and continue demanding accountability and transparency from those who hold power. That's why we're here at America First, to bring you the truth, to speak out boldly against incompetence, and to champion accountability in every branch of our government. If you haven't already, subscribe now and join us in our mission to protect our nation from mediocrity and political favoritism. God bless you, and God bless America.